We all tend to think that losing your memory is just an inevitable part of getting older. But what if one of the biggest triggers is actually hiding in plain sight? Today we're diving into some common medications that new research is linking to cognitive decline and even dementia.
We hear it all the time, right? Memory fades. It's just what happens. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if one of the greatest risks is something we've been completely overlooking?
So let's just challenge that old idea for a second. What if this threat isn't just a natural part of the clock ticking forward? What if it's something we're told is perfectly safe? Something routine? It turns out the source of the problem could be hiding right there on your shelf.
Just to show you how high the stakes are, get this. New research shows that one single class of common drugs can cause key memory centers in the brain to shrink by over 28% in less than a year. That's why this conversation is so incredibly important. So let's start our countdown of the most common offenders. And listen, don't let their high number on this list fool you. The risk with every single one of these is very, very real.
Kicking us off at number 9 is diphenhydramine. You probably know it as Benadryl. It's that go-to pill for allergies, a sniffle, or when you just can't get to sleep. It seems totally harmless, right? Well, inside your brain, it's a completely different story. The problem is that Benadryl is something called an anticholinergic. Now that's a big word, but the concept is simple. These drugs work by blocking acetylcholine, which is a crucial chemical messenger your brain absolutely needs for learning and forming new memories.
And the impact is huge. A 2023 study found that people who used these regularly had a 54% higher risk of developing dementia. The good news is there are safer options, like loratadine, that don't cross into the brain.
All right, coming in at number 8 are proton pump inhibitors, or PPIs. Think Prilosec and Nexium. They're given to millions of people for heartburn, but here's the catch. They can mess with your body's ability to absorb vitamin B12, a nutrient that is absolutely essential for a healthy brain.
One major study found that regular PPI users had a 44% increased risk of dementia. These drugs have also been shown to increase the bad stuff in the brain, those amyloid beta plaques that are a key driver of Alzheimer's.
At number 7, we've got oxybutynin, which is often used for an overactive bladder. Just like Benadryl, it's a really potent anticholinergic, but what makes it especially sneaky is that it crosses the blood-brain barrier super easily, letting it directly interfere with your brain's memory centers.
But the good news here is you have other options. Newer medications like mirabegron work in a totally different way that doesn't block acetylcholine, which makes them a significantly safer choice for your long-term cognitive health.
Number 6 might actually surprise you: statins. Now, don't get me wrong, these are lifesavers for heart health. But our brain is nearly 60% fat, and it actually needs cholesterol to function properly. So in some cases, lowering cholesterol too aggressively might be starving the brain of one of its essential building blocks.
Okay, let's get into the second part of our countdown. The drugs we're about to cover carry even more significant cognitive risks, and they are prescribed every single day.
At number 5 are benzodiazepines like Xanax and Ativan. They work by boosting the brain's main calming chemical, GABA. But there is a serious risk with long-term use. One study found that using them for just over 3 months led to a 51% increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Next up, at number 4 is amitriptyline. Even though it's an older antidepressant, it's still used all the time for things like pain and insomnia. The problem? It is one of the most powerful anticholinergic drugs out there, and long-term use has been linked to a 54% greater chance of developing dementia.
So the really crucial point here is that for every single reason someone might take amitriptyline, there are now much safer, newer alternatives that don't put that same heavy burden on the brain.
At number 3 is paroxetine, better known as Paxil. Here's the thing. Among all the modern SSRI antidepressants, Paxil is pretty much the only one that has significant anticholinergic effects. It's actually so problematic that the American Geriatric Society has it on their official list of drugs that seniors should avoid.
And at number 2,
Antipsychotics. Drugs like Seroquel are often prescribed off-label to help with behavioral symptoms in seniors, but the cognitive hit can be severe. One study found they increased the odds of worsening cognitive decline by a staggering 71% within a single year.
And now, we've arrived at the #1 spot. But I have to tell you, the single biggest dementia trigger hiding in the medicine cabinet, well, it might not be what you expect at all.
So what is it? What's the most dangerous culprit of them all when it comes to drug-induced cognitive decline?
The answer is, it's not a single pill. The greatest danger actually lies in the cumulative, compounding effect of taking multiple medications all together.
This has a name. It's called anticholinergic polypharmacy. It's what happens when someone takes, say, Benadryl for sleep, oxybutynin for bladder issues, and amitriptyline for pain, all at the same time. Each one adds to the total anticholinergic burden, and it just completely overwhelms the brain's chemistry.
And the risk here is just immense. One analysis found that seniors with the highest cumulative burden had a 120% increased risk of dementia. That is more than double the risk, and it's a direct result of combining these medications.
Now listen, this is not meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you. Because unlike other forms of cognitive decline, the kind caused by drugs can often be managed, and in many cases, it can even be reversed. So here is a simple but really powerful action plan. First, make a complete list of everything you take, and I mean everything, over-the-counter stuff and supplements too. Second, ask your doctor or pharmacist to help you calculate your total anticholinergic load. And third, and this is key, work with them to create a plan to safely taper off or switch any problematic medications. The brain is an incredibly resilient organ, but only if we give it a fighting chance. Knowing this information is the first step. What you do next, well, that's up to you.